What do you do when this idea you've been dreaming about for years and you've been working and planning and putting money toward it? Everything leads up to this thing you've been dreaming about, and then you hit a brick wall. The dream is delayed. What do you do? That just happened to me, and I'll tell you what I did, and you might benefit from that. Individual results may vary. This is The Next Simple Step. I'm Paul Goldsmith. The last couple of weeks, my dream, a business that we've been working on, I announced right here on this podcast, Salad Works and Fruitable Restaurant in our town of Spring Hill, Tennessee. We were planning to open on March 1st, and that date came and went, and the building we're leasing still has no power or water to it. It's a brand new build, and we're the first build out in that space. It was supposed to be done a long time ago, delay. And then finally we thought it's going to be done mid-February. We're going to open March 1st, and it didn't happen. No fault of our own, but we can't open yet. We have completely built out the space, bought the equipment, hired a manager, spending a lot of money, energy, time. The manager's interviewing candidates for the hourly positions, all this activity, all this money spent, and yet we're stuck. And it's not real clear yet when we'll be able to open. So stay tuned for that. I'll let you know how this story ends. Our dream is certainly delayed, but I'll tell you this, it's not a dream denied. We're going to keep moving forward. And in the meantime, I'll share with you 3 simple steps you can take if you're in the midst of a delayed dream, because these have been really beneficial to me. Step 1 is get curious. And one way to do that is ask the question, what does this make possible? That's a question I got from a mentor of mine, Dan Miller. He passed away earlier this year. And Dan was a successful author and coach, podcaster. And years ago, I read one of his books called 48 Days to the Work You Love. And it really kind of helped me rethink and dream about being an entrepreneur. And when I moved to Nashville in 2017, I just reached out to him for some advice, and he invited me over to his home office. How cool is that? This big best-selling author dude, I had no expectation that we'd meet in person, and he rolled out the red carpet, told me all about his businesses and the things that he did to build his dream life and work. And so it was really a shock when he announced late last year that he had a really advanced form of cancer and the prognosis was not good. He recorded a final podcast after getting this grave diagnosis. And in that podcast, he reiterated his curiosity. What does this make possible? He had said time and time again, and then here in the last days of his life, he lived that out. What does this make possible? And what it made possible for him in his last few weeks on earth was the amazing tributes that came in from all around the world. I saw some of them online, and I know his family shared them with him up till the very end. He got to know what an impact he made on so many people. And of course, none of us are going to live forever, and we don't know how many days on this earth we have. There's so many things out of our control. But when something happens that's out of our control, it's not something we planned, it's not something we'd like, we get a choice. We can get better, or we can ask, what does this make possible now? I was really inspired by that legacy of Dan Miller, and I hope that puts things into perspective, really. Bad things are going to happen. That doesn't diminish if something horrible has happened to you. Don't make light of that. However, you have to make a choice to continue to move forward or to really kind of sit in that victim mentality. And I realize my business challenges are nothing compared to some of the personal and devastating things people are facing. And so it's not apples to apples, but I do say, like, as long as you are still living and breathing, you have agency, really taking stock of what is possible with your current limited circumstances and resources. that's really the first step, because there's really no use in just sitting and stewing on everything that is out of your control. Control the controllables, and that's you and your mindset. That's first and foremost. Get curious when your dream is delayed, but don't give up hope. And step 2, get help. None of us are meant to do this life or even business alone. I know when I started my first entrepreneurial consulting company, very quickly, I realized I hit my own ceiling. I can only do one thing at a time, work with one client at a time. I was a solopreneur, and I realized that I was much better suited to be an entrepreneur and to work with other folks. And so I found some business partners, and we formed Vidaire Creative, a fundraising company, and that has been the foundation for me to be able to launch other businesses. And I don't try to go it alone, because as the old proverb says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So I would encourage you, if you're stuck, if your dream is delayed, get some help. Chances are there's somebody else in the world that has gone through a similar thing that you're facing, and maybe they have a solution that you're looking for and can really fast track your progress to get back on track to pursuing that dream of yours. That goes hand in hand with the being curious, right? Who might be able to help me with this particular situation? I think sometimes when we've publicly announced we're doing something and then we get stuck, we're a little embarrassed. You don't want to tell people that you weren't able to accomplish the thing you set out to do. Who cares what other people think? At the end of the day, it's your dream. And if it's big enough, it's not something that's going to be easy. It's not something you could figure out on your own. The key is to find others that you can collaborate with to get there much quicker than if you were trying to do every step of the way by yourself. And that brings us to step 3. Get moving. When you're stuck, don't stay there. Even if you start moving in the wrong direction, very quickly you'll figure out that you're going in the wrong direction and you change course. But staying in your misery, staying in that status quo is not going to help you get any momentum. You have to get moving to get momentum. Also, people are more inclined to help you if they see you helping yourself, doing the best you can, being curious, asking questions. I've worked a lot with nonprofits, and the difference between thriving nonprofits and ones that struggle, there are many, but it doesn't necessarily mean the ones that are thriving are doing better work. Sometimes all it means is that they have momentum and everybody cares about the work they're doing of their nonprofit. But the ones that thrive invest in figuring out how to make the best case for support and reach the people that care about supporting the thing that they're doing, because you don't assume necessarily because you have a great cause or a great product that people are going to flock to you. You have to make it easy for them. You have to tell your story. You have to invest in marketing and lead generation and cultivation and all the things. It's true in the nonprofit world and it's true in the for-profit world. And once you get moving, it's just amazing what you discover. All of a sudden, you realize that you learn as you go. And that's why I'm a big believer in taking the next simple steps, because I know that when I try to tackle too much too soon, I get really frustrated and can't go the distance. I am a marathon runner, and it's a great illustration for life. It's a marathon, not a sprint, because anybody that just starts running, if you try to run 26.2 miles, having not trained, it's going to be very unpleasant if you can finish at all. However, if you've trained running that first mile and then your first 3 miles and developing your training over time, suddenly you build the confidence and the capability that you can go the distance. And so before you just jump to the finish line, you have to go to the starting line time and time again. Power through the discomfort of going out for another training run. That's really how this whole entrepreneurial thing works too. You have to continue to find new starting lines and learn things time and time again. And you don't just arrive, it's continual growth. If you're stuck right now and you don't know where to go, I would encourage you, get curious, ask what it makes possible. I highly recommend journaling and getting all of your thoughts out of your head and on paper, and then ask who, not how, get help, and then get moving. Every day, move forward the next simple step. Hope this helps. Reach out if I can help you. I'm Paul J. Goldsmith on Instagram and X, and I'll talk to you next time on the next Simple Step Podcast.